Everybody, welcome to the HopCast.
Thanks for joining us again, everybody.
I'm Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
And today we're getting canned.
Yeah. Today we're going to take it in the can. Yeah. So to start out, we're going to have an IPA from Avery. And you've got another one, kind of a local beer.
Right, a double IPA from Wild Onion.
Yeah, so they're kind of in our neck of the woods. Everyone knows Avery's out in Boulder, Colorado, but Wild Onion is out in the suburbs of Chicago in a town called Barrington. So we've had some of their beers before, not this one.
No, not that. I don't remember what we had. I think we talked to them at like the Hoptacular Festival.
We did.
About a year ago.
They had some good IPAs on, but I don't think it was this one. So they must be doing a lot of hoppy beers over there.
Yeah, and they've had stuff on tap over at Owen and Engine.
Mm-hmm.
So, but other than that, I haven't seen them around that much. So.
I know they get pretty good distribution in Whole Foods.
Okay.
So you can see their cans a lot over there. I'm pretty sure they had like a pretty popular one in the fall time. It was a pumpkin beer. Never got a chance to try it, but people seem to like it.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're gonna start with just the straight up IPA here from Avery. It says Hop Freaks Unite, so it should be a pretty hoppy one. You guys can start raising the roof out there if you want. All right, let's pour this out, see how it goes.
Man, that's a clear beer.
Yeah, beautiful clarity on the beer. Kind of like a dark straw type of color.
Yeah, like maybe we've been doing so many stouts, but I feel like we haven't had a clear beer. like just a beer you could actually see through in a long time.
Yeah, I mean they pretty clearly must be filtering this beer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty light in color for an IPA. And actually, to tell you the truth, usually some of the IPAs that I tend to like are the ones that are have less of that malt character and just kind of let the hops come through. So maybe this is along those lines.
The hops are coming through.
Yeah, it's got a nice piney aroma to it. It's less of the citrus and more of that pine flavor or aroma rather.
Yeah, maybe it's just we're outside, we're getting.
Well, you know, the certain hops will lend the different characteristics of what will fall under that giant hop umbrella. So yeah. I'm not sure what they use for their aroma hop, but certainly one of the pinier ones.
Yeah, let's give it a taste.
Cheers.
Nice.
It is nice. It's and it kind of went along with what I was expecting to a certain extent, where it's, you know, the malt is there and it's got the sweetness, but it's not what's hitting you first. You got that nice hop, and it kind of creates a clean flavor where the malts aren't muddying up your IPA. You know?
No, yeah, you get the hops. It leaves like that hoppy, chalky bitterness in your mouth.
Yeah. Very great bitterness on this beer. It's highly bitter, and I think they kind of hit on all angles of the hop, it being bitter, flavorful, and aromatic. You know, so they've and they do a great job over at Avery. So yeah. I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a lot of beers, or especially IPAs, or just pale ales that are just like hop just to be hopped. Or and this one, the hops are forward. It is an IPA. It's like to style. Yeah.
Right. It's nice to have you know, some more of the reined in beers, if you will, with, you know, everyone going crazy over the hops with the past couple years, and everyone just trying to outdo each other as far as how much IBUs we can use and how many hops we can put in our kettle and all this stuff. So just to have kind of a nice balanced IPA is refreshing.
Yeah, and what's the alcohol on this?
6.5 on this one. Yeah.
Nice.
Lightweights. I don't know. Nowadays, this is like a pretty heavy beer for me. Like, I'm like, man, I better go have a meal after this.
It's in the can, so it's nice and portable, so it's easy to take where you're going.
Yeah, that's for sure. This is the first time I'm trying this beer in the can. They've been bottling it for a number of years, and they've had this beer for a while.
Right, I think we've had not on the show, but the pills.
Yeah.
Average Joe? Or
I believe
Just
that's the
Joe?
only two that they can. Those are the only two I've seen. The Average Joe Premium Pilsner, I believe is what they call it.
Oh, premium.
And Premium indeed, because that's another delicious beer from Avery.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have other cans that we don't get, but yeah, this is what they're doing now, and hopefully they keep putting them in the can.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe this is kind of like their transition, because you don't see that where they start out with bottles and then transition their way to the cans. We've seen, I mean, obviously Avery and New Belgium have done it. So we'll see if eventually they start doing the majority of their line in a can.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, it's usually you do a new beer and that goes in the can. Like didn't the Ranger from New Belgium?
Is that in the can?
That's in the can. Did that start out in the bottle or did that start on the can?
It was in the bottle.
Oh,
yeah,
it was in the bottle. Okay.
The first one they did was Fat Tire, and I thought maybe they did the Wit, but I'm not sure. So I guess you saw the Ranger. I've never seen the Ranger. That's another good IPA. If you're looking for a nice balanced IPA.
That one comes in, I think, little 12 packs.
Oh, cool.
I think it's 12 pack. Might be.
That's a good
little cardboard case.
Barbecue or beach beer. There you go. Well, yeah, excellent beer once again from Avery. Let's finish these up and then hit the big boy.
All right. All right. Well, you ready to get slayed in the can now?
Yeah. So this is the Hop Slayer, and they invite you with their verbiage to get slayed with their 8% double IPA. So that's what we're about to do.
So the hops gone because they've been slayed, or is it heavily hopped?
I think the hops are going to slay us.
Oh, the hops slay us.
Yes. So it's. I almost thought they were asking me if I wanted to get laid, but they didn't say that. Either way, the answer is the same.
I will drink it.
Okay. All right, let's pour it out and see what it looks like.
Well, that's quite a departure from the Avery.
Yeah, this one is a murky IPA here that we have. It's kind of like a burnt orange type of color.
Right, it's like rusty water.
And it's, I mean, if you notice from the pour, and obviously you can't see what's going on here if you kind of swirl it around, like these bubbles just kind of like have to fight their way back up to the top. So it seems like it's a pretty viscous beer.
And the head is pretty dark. Like usually you get a nice fluffy head on IPA. This one's kind of brown.
Yeah, I don't even get much of a head unless I really agitate it.
Yeah, that's what.
Nice catch there. Okay.
Yeah, it smells nice.
Yeah, a lot of citrus on this one.
Right, we had the pine before. This is more orangey, grapefruity.
Yeah, you got the citrus and the kind of like the floral notes to it.
Huh.
It smells good. Cheers.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not as big in the body as I thought it would be. This is kind of like a medium-bodied beer, where it's just like looking at the appearance of it, it seemed like it had a lot of that residual sweetness in there, which you can certainly expect from a double IPA, and it's there, but not to the extent that I thought I was going to get. So
yeah, it's sweet, but tastes watery at the same time.
Yeah, it's you know,
missing something there?
There's kind of like maybe they're missing one note in the hop chord or something like that, because it's got some nice hop flavor to it, but there is something lacking at some point. But you know, pretty solid beer.
Man, this is our first time having this beer, so this was going in this blind.
This is more like, it has like the flavor. There's not much bitterness. It's more about the flavor and the aroma. So I think they were doing maybe a lot of late edition stuff.
Okay.
With the hopping. I'd be curious to know what hops they use, because the combination of hop flavor that they have going on is pretty pleasant.
Yeah, nothing stands out or punches you in the face.
Right.
So.
It's just kind of even keeled, and I was expecting for it to be one of those.
Yeah, well, it's the Slayer.
It's yeah. So I was pleased by that, for sure.
So we noticed on the can that they're just buying blank cans and just using like a clear sticker on them.
Yeah, so kind of a cheaper way to get around buying cans, because I know that when you're canning your beer, you buy them blank, and then in order to print something on them, there's a minimum amount of cans that you need to buy. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of limiting the number of different beers that you can put into cans if you're a small brewery such as Wild Onion. So the way they've gotten around this is actually putting a label on the can, much like you would do with a regular bottle.
Right. I think it's a good idea, and it maybe doesn't look as nice, but it definitely, I'm sure, is saving them a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's I mean, everyone knows they're just a small brewery out in the suburbs, so whatever you can do to put out more beer, I think that's the most important thing. So cut a corner. If it has to be a label on the can, then I'd rather you do that than with an ingredient or a recipe or something like that. Right. So I'm all for that. But
this label is also pretty ridiculous. It's got this skeleton riding like it looks like an El Camino in his hop sombrero.
Yeah, there's like hops flying out all over the place, and it says Vita El Lupulo, which basically, loose translation means long live the hops. So
it looks like a Grateful Dead cover, or like a homage to a Three Floyds.
Yeah, Three Floyds meets Grateful Dead. But we've, I mean, the reason that we've done the canned beers today is just because it's kind of a new renaissance period for that type of packaging in the industry. And if you haven't seen our shows about this before, just touch on some things and why it's actually good to be in a can. I mean, when it's empty, you can feel that it's super lightweight, so you're saving money on like shipping costs and stuff like that. No light's going to get in here at all and damage whatever beer you have. The seal on it is much better than some of the bottle caps can be, where they can the little plastic rubbery thing can sometimes oxidize and erode.
And more people are likely to recycle cans over bottles. It's just you grew up drinking soda, you toss those in a recycling can, or a bottle you might not.
Because the common misconception with beer in a can, and rightfully so, is the beers that you've seen in cans are beers that you don't like. But those beers weren't good before they went in the can, and they're not good in the bottle either. Right. So the can debate on those beers is kind of null, in my opinion. Right. So. And
they're in the can because it was cheaper for them to ship it. They looked at, I'm sure, a cost. Yeah, and if people are going to the beach or a barbecue and stuff like that, sometimes it's easier to just bring cans. Maybe the bottle has a prettier presentation, but right, which we're doing today, and we're bringing both of these. We are doing that. Yeah. So there you go. But yeah, so a couple nice IPAs in the can, showing you that it's not just light lagers that go into these little tin things. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. And thanks for watching the HopCast.